Hello and welcome to this episode of BazaarU. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most fundamental parts of the Bazaar, simply how to win, and what asynchronous PvP is. So in the Bazaar, when you first load in, you'll be building a board to fight in a PvP fight, and when you win a PvP fight, you get a win. And that goes towards your overall objective of getting 10 wins in a run, but your run can end early if you run out of prestige. So the mechanism by which this is tracked is your clock, and the clock tells you a couple of things. At the top, it'll tell you how many wins you've achieved in your run, what day it is on your run, and the hour you're on. And down here we have the prestige. So prestige starts at 20, so you have 20 out of 20, and if you lose a PvP fight, you lose the amount of prestige equal to the day. So on day 1, if you lose, you'll lose 1 prestige, but if on day 10 you lose, you would lose 10 prestige. The first time you drop below 20 prestige, so the first time you go to 0, you actually get stopped. So if you're at 2 prestige and you lose 10, you'll stay at 1, and you'll get basically a saving grace, you'll get an extra life. You'll experience that. It's really fun. It's a core mechanic of the Bazaar. But if you're at 3 and you lose 4, you're going to experience that. But if you're at 4 and you lose 3, you'll still be at 1, and you haven't hit that yet. So when we fight another player, it's always at the top of an hour, and we get a little bit of info on them. The Bazaar has a really unique system in the fact that it's asynchronous PvP. So the Bazaar is, to me, similar to Solitaire, where you play it at your own pace. You don't have to have a timer on your turns. You can kind of come in, you can leave, you can come back. It's awesome in that regard. And the way they achieved that is by doing what they call asynchronous PvP. So you are effectively trying to go against an average baseline of opponents. And what I mean by that is you don't get to select who you're fighting. It's always just given to you at random. So in a big sample size, you're just going to be playing the average Bazaar player, and your goal is to be better than the average. But you get a couple of indicators on who you're going to play. So in this example, Sweets is our opponent. They had already completed up to this point of the game and fought someone else, and then they left behind their board as a snapshot. They call it the ghost board, and I will be fighting their snapshot of a board. So we can tell here that it is day 2, and Sweets has a single win. So that means they won their day 1 PvP encounter. So I can get a little bit of information off of that, but it's not insane or anything at this moment of time. We can see their level. They're level 3. I'm level 3, so even fight in terms of levels. And they have full prestige on day 2. If they won the first fight, of course they didn't lose, so they have full prestige still. Now that's not super relevant for us. Our objective is just to win, to collect a win, to advance us towards the 10 win marker, and avoid losing prestige. Another thing we can gain off of this is we can see their border. We can see that this player is a bronze ranking. Now, that's not really super relevant, right? You could still have really good players in bronze, and you could still have players in gold that are maybe silver level. It's just ranking doesn't matter so much in terms of your decision making. When you move on, there's more information. So on day 5, I only have 2 wins, but I'm fighting against a player who has 4 wins. So since we haven't fought day 5, they're perfect in their run still. So I can kind of gather that this player's board is rather strong. Now, there will be times where that information is helpful, and there will be times where, just nothing you can really do. You only have one option. But knowing that does matter sometimes, especially if they're really weak. Like if they haven't had any wins, you could maybe play a greedier board. But nonetheless, I'm not trying to go into too much strategy right now. I'm just trying to explain the basis of asynchronous PvP. And one of the other things that I do want to touch on is that you don't necessarily get matched up to someone with the same level as you. Since it's random, it's just someone who got to this point of the game. So on day 10, I'm level 11 on day 10. My opponent's level 10 on day 10. So they've lost a lot of prestige. They have 5 wins on day 10. So this is an example of someone who's maybe under the average power curve at this point in the game. But this gives me a pretty big advantage just being a level up. You get a lot of extra health. So you do want to try to stay, you know, leveled as the game progresses. But nonetheless, this is the fundamental, kind of concept behind asynchronous PvP. It's all random, who you get assigned. You can't choose. Sometimes you'll just run into a counter matchup. Sometimes you'll run into a matchup that you absolutely stomp. You just have to understand that on average, your objective is to be better than the average player in the Bazaar. All right. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.